Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am Gabriel Fast, and I do claim to be the wannabe critic. You are listening to what is the final episode of the Wannabe Critic podcast as a group content, and I'm really excited to be here with Caleb and Mikey and Ryan, and you guys will get your chance to speak in a moment. We're really excited. We have a lot of news that we're going to talk about regarding the show and where it's going. We're also going to be reviewing the final entry so far in the Mission Impossible franchise, which is in fact Mission Impossible Fallout. So we have a great show lined up for you. We're really excited to get going. But Caleb, how you feeling, bro? I want to hear from you.
Yeah, things are going good. Nothing too crazy going on. I'm just happy to be here talking about this awesome movie.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here talking about this awesome movie. And I like your shirt, just saying. Mikey, I also like your shirt too. How you living, homie? What's up in your world?
Doing podcasts rarely. And working. Pretty much the same every time. Every time you ask me this question, Gabe, I get my heart just goes way fast because my life is so boring. And when anybody asks me what I'm doing,
it's the same every time.
I don't have a question. I don't have an answer to your question. It's just
no,
nothing.
That's fine. You're boring, and that's how it is. No, I want to hear. I know there's got to be more, so we'll give you some time to think about it. But I hope you're feeling good for the show tonight, and I'm happy to see you. Ryan, how you feeling, bro?
Good, yeah. I missed the show the last couple of weeks, so it's nice to be back.
You've missed the show? I thought you were you weren't here last time? Oh, yeah, that's right, because, we had Ethan on last time, right?
Yeah, we've had a break for a couple of weeks. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I just... You remember how the last couple of weeks we didn't do this?
Yeah, well, it's been like towards the beginning of the month. We have a couple shows, and then we take a break, but... I see what you mean now. You've missed doing the show. I thought you said you missed the past few episodes.
No, I missed... Sorry, I should have probably been clear. I missed being here doing the show.
Yeah, I did too. It's been one of those things like I haven't been recording a lot of podcasts recently. I've been doing other stuff content-wise, so I feel not rusty, but I just feel like, I don't know, like I feel focused, hosting tonight because I haven't done it in like weeks. It's been weeks since I've sat down to do a show, and that never happens. But it's good to see everybody. I definitely want to hear. I saw Mikey. Mikey made a face, so I want to know what he's been up to here in a second. But Caleb, what's been new in your world? Anything worth sharing? Anything worth mentioning?
Not that I can think of. Everything's been pretty normal. Just playing more of the show. That's basically it.
Yeah, every time I get on PlayStation, I see you, and I'm like, ooh, Caleb's on. I wonder what he's playing. And then it does show the show, And I'm like, well, there he goes. He's a simple man. He wants for nothing.
Yeah, no, yeah. I really do. And, I was about to say, I started reading the High Republic recently, the first book. And that, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, it's called Light of the Jedi.
My new book. Yeah, Light of the Jedi. That's what it is.
I started reading that too, actually. Still kind of making my way through it, but yeah, we'll have to compare thoughts whenever we get to that point. But that's cool, man. Yeah, are you still enjoying the show?
Oh yeah, no, I really enjoy it. It's like, I don't know, kind of relaxing in a sense. Sometimes you just need a game that kind of like allows you to unwind. And yeah, that's that game for me. So I'm really, really enjoying it.
Nice, man. I'm happy for you. I hope you said I asked you a few weeks ago if you were going to get that sweet platy, and you said, I don't know if I can do that, but I have faith in you. I think you're going to do it. You're going to muster up the courage.
There's a couple of trophies that make it near impossible to actually do. So
God,
I'm probably not going to platinum it.
I hate when they do that. Like literally everything looks like gravy until you find that one trophy, like hit like 100,000 home runs or something stupid like that, like, no, for real. Like that's what devs think they're funny, like with their trophy list. Like they'll make everything else super easy to get except for like one or two trophies. And it's like, God, that is what is keeping me from getting that sweet platy, and it's, I feel sad for you, but I still hope that you. I still hope that you muster up, the I don't know, the experience to be able to do it.
Yeah. So the trophy that I'm just thinking of off the top of my head that's going to be near impossible is getting 8 walks in one game. That's completely reliant on the computer deciding that it just doesn't want to pitch well. And then you also having the patience to sit there and just take pitch after pitch after pitch. So taking 8 walks in a game is a lot anyways, like in a normal baseball game when it's actual people that are playing. When it's you against a computer and the computer already doesn't walk you a ton, it's near impossible. And the closest I've ever gotten is 6. And I've put probably 100 hours into that game already. And it's just like, I've kind of decided it's not going to happen. It's just one of those
things. Is there
because that's the thing too. Yeah, I don't know if that is one. That's like, I was actually thinking about it today as like, that's probably the only way, not local multiplayer, I don't think. It's like I'd have to get it online and match up with a person and try to get them to basically just pitch around me for the whole game. And even then, I don't know if that would actually pop the trophy. But the problem is too, is like if you're playing that game and like the game where I had 6 walks, the pitcher, for whatever reason, the computer just had him just having an off day and he's pitching all over the place. But eventually, after so many innings, they bring in a different pitcher out of the bullpen because that's how baseball works. And that pitcher wasn't walking you. It's like, well, that pitcher's on, and every pitcher they bring in after that is on. And it's just like, well, there goes my chance at the trophy. So I kind of decided, I was like, I'm never going to get that. Like, unless I can pop that and like somehow by getting like someone to join up on multiplayer and do it, it's just like, it's not going to be worth getting. And it doesn't matter that much to me.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen, when MLB The Show goes on sale. Oh, wait a minute. It's cross-plat, bro. Or cross-platform. So I got it on Game Pass. Bro. Oh, wait. Is it cross-platform? It is, isn't it? No, it's not. It's just on Xbox. I just got really excited for a second. I thought I was going to help you be able to get... Yeah, sorry. Well, you heard it here first. When it goes on sale on PlayStation, I'll buy it just so Caleb can get even that trophy. Just that trophy alone. It's worth it to me. No, I feel your pain though, dude. There's so many. There was a couple of trophies. I just recently platinumed the first Mass Effect, and there was a couple of trophies where I was like, man, this seems like it would be pretty easy to get, but man, I had to backtrack a lot to be able to get it. Like do like older saves, and like I started like I had finished the game and I thought it would pop after I finished the game, but I had to like backtrack like another 3 hours to do it. So it's kind of frustrating, but I do feel your pain. Mikey, I'm interested to know what your excitement was about. Well, you were just sitting there, and I said to think about, what was going to be exciting, and then you just went like you did your thing that you do. Like you got excited for a second, and then you composed yourself. So I'm assuming it was something cool. This is really awkward now, Mikey. You see what you've done?
I don't remember. Do you want to? What was the question?
What have you been up to? Is there something that you wanted to share with the class?
Oh, I finished Uncharted 4 again.
Oh. Nice.
And
yeah, we're recording that. We're reviewing that over on Game Club, so that's good.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun, dude.
No,
I was just gonna say, like, I was editing our episode the other day, and then I put it up on Patreon first, and I was listening to it, and for whatever reason, it chopped the episode in half, like in post. So there's only like half the episode available, and I had already put it up everywhere, so ready to go, like release. So I literally had to take it down from everywhere, re-edit it, like put it all back, and then re-upload it all. Wow. But that was a good review. That was a good time, So yeah, I'm excited to get to 4. I'm almost done with 3, which we'll be recording Uncharted 3 with Ethan, pretty soon. So that's cool. But you really, outside of that, is there anything else?
I started a diet.
Really? What diet? Are you doing the Atkins?
No, I'm just trying to eat under 2,000 calories a day.
All bacon all the time.
Yeah, basically. No, yeah. I've never tried calorie counting before. And me and my wife, our anniversary trip's coming up, and we're going to Florida. So I'm going to have my shirt off, and I've got, like, the COVID 30 on me right now. So I'm trying to drop some weight. But that and My record collecting's kind of died down lately. I haven't found anything. Well, after watching this movie, I think I found another album I might want to pick up. If Mondo, I think Mondo's actually doing Mission Impossible exclusives right now. So once they get to this one, I'll probably pick it up.
Yeah, I really liked the music in this movie. So
pretty cool. Pretty good. But
nice.
Other than that, yeah, not a lot going on.
That's fine. Just slow and steady wins the race. You know what I mean? That's cool, man. Ryan, we were talking a little bit off mic about what you've been up to, and it seems like you've actually been a busy bee. So what's going on in your world?
Have. I've been doing writing, just carving even some extra time out for some writing projects, which is exciting. I talked before about I picked up a new painting hobby, and I've been going all in with that as well and really enjoying it, actually. That's a type of thing I was always curious if I could do, and it turns out I'm okay at it. So that's been fun. Let me see. So the Goodreads page for my next book went live. So if anyone out there is a Goodreads person, then you can go and find it. It's called This Last Adventure, and put it on your want to read list. So that's cool. The book description is there. The cover is pending. It's still being worked on, but that'll go up soon, I think. But yeah, anyone who is on Goodreads and wants to add it to your shelf or anything, it is there.
That's amazing, man. This Last Adventure. Not to be confused with The Last Adventure from DuckTales.
No, it is not related.
Yeah, not even a little bit. I was actually for the audio listeners, they won't be able to hear it or see it, but you have a painting behind you that you did, and I said it kind of reminded me of Japan. You kind of got like the cherry blossom, under the moonlight thing going on. It looks cool.
It's cherry blossom trees under moonlight and stuff. And thanks, appreciate it. That's the first big one I've done. I normally have been practicing on like 8x10s. That one's an 18x24. That was the first large one. And yeah, I'm having a blast. It's nice to have something else to do that's when I want to feel creative, but I'm not in the writing headspace. It's a nice outlet.
Yeah, no, it looks really cool, and I can't wait to see it. It seems like that one's even a lot better looking than the last one you showed us, which wasn't bad, but it just seems like, an improvement. So good on you, man. That's awesome. That's really cool. As far as me, I always save myself for last for some reason. I should probably start going first so we can move into the next topic, I too have been playing Uncharted. I did pick up the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which I did platinum in a weekend. The Mass Effect 1, not all 3 games, just Mass Effect 1. And man, I'll tell you, I was listening to the review that me and Maestri did a while back on Mass Effect 1, and man, there's a lot of stuff in there that doesn't hold up, even already. Like, it went from being a game that I said I would never play again to one of my favorite games I've ever played, and that's even the first one. Oh my god, it is one of it. Mass Effect 1, especially with this new update, all of my biggest complaints were fixed with this Legendary Edition. Even just, I never really wanted to explore the Citadel, which is kind of like your main hub to kind of go get side missions and stuff like that. You get side missions across the galaxy and stuff, but
did they basically delete the loading screens for it?
I mean, yeah, there's no loading whatsoever. You can actually, the one thing that I like, there's a couple characters, like when you're in an elevator, like your characters, whoever your comrades are, they'll have dialogue in the first game, and there's one character that I always pick to have in my party because that's the only game that you can have him. And just some of the stuff he says, I was like out loud laughing, but it's kind of rad because if you want to skip those scenes, you still have to be in the elevator for a moment, but it's much faster. But even just being able to sprint in the Citadel where you couldn't before, it's a huge improvement. It looks great. I'm having a blast with that. I wanted to jump right back into Mass Effect 2, but I decided not to. I've been just kind of working on some other stuff. I've been busy with my content creation elsewhere. I've been playing a lot of RuneScape, and I mean a lot of it. So there's a friend, I think he listens to the show sometimes, but a friend of the show, Aaron, he's like, dude, have you ever thought about making RuneScape videos or playing RuneScape? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I've always been kind of curious about it, but I don't really know what it is, and yada, yada, yada. But, man, I'll tell you, like, I started a few weeks ago playing, and, man, it sucked me right in. It sucked me right into a time where, for a lot of these games, like, to get that skin that you want or to do that thing that you really want or get that cosmetic that you really want, you can just buy it, right? In this game, every single inch, for the most part, is earned. Like, you can buy it stuff with in-game currency, but I don't know. Like, to acquire that in-game currency is still kind of a challenge, and the reward factor is really what's been keeping me coming back. And I've been making videos on it, and like I've kind of been accepted into like the old school RuneScape community a little bit, like on Facebook and stuff, and they've been commenting on my videos and like encouraging me, like giving me ideas for quests and stuff. And it's just been a lot of fun to make those videos, and I've been having a lot of fun doing it. So it's, it's become kind of like an anchor point a little bit for my YouTube channel, which is pretty rad. It's relatively harmless game, and I like making stuff around it. So, but
it's totally going to become your niche, and you're just going to turn into just a RuneScape exclusive.
Dude, I mean,
channel.
My videos. So there was a time period where I was reviewing music exclusively, and I could see those views like going up after every video. Like, okay, like 20 views, 25, like 35, 45, and all of a sudden I jumped to like 100 views on a video. People watch those videos every single day, and the more I post, like the more they're getting recommended. So
yeah,
by the time,
probably not a lot of creators.
There isn't
doing
there isn't a ton. I mean, a lot of people stream it. Some people stream it, but there's not a lot of active like content creators around RuneScape. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm just enjoying being able to make videos, and like, when you make a video, it's like, oh, that was really satisfying. Like, I enjoy doing that. But it's 100 billion times better when you get when and you can see people watching it. Like, people are watching it and people are interacting with it. Like, that's the best. It's the best, So that's kind of been what I've been focusing on content-wise lately, and trying to, edit the backlog and, get stuff uploaded and stuff. But that's basically what I've been up to, and it's been a good time. I've been trying to get stuff up on our new podcast feed, which, I'm going to transition or segue into that a little bit. So the Wannabe Collective, let's talk about that for just a second. We'll get into a Scotia housekeeping before we get into our review for this evening. 30 what? 33-0? 3C? I don't get it. What did I say? Did I say something wrong? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. What are you saying, Mikey? What are you trying to tell me?
Pretty sure that's WC?
Yeah, it's a W, Gabe.
Oh, it's a W. Wannabe Critic. That's right. Wannabe Collective. That's right. WC, brothers. So, Wannabe Collective. We'll talk about it for a minute. Sorry, boys. I'm a little off my game. So the Wannabe Collective is now The Wannabe Collective is now kind of turning into the central hub for all of our, our shared content that has been on the Wannabe Critic podcast. We're moving it to a different place because, it's just been so random. There's still going to be a sense of randomness to that, that podcast feed. But the goal is to have something there every week. I made a YouTube channel with the same name. For the Wannabe Collective, and you can go subscribe to that. It'll be down in the description down below, and you can sub to it, because that's where all of our weekly shows are going to be. Nostalgia Trip, we're not sure on Nostalgia Trip yet. We're kind of working on something potentially in the background for that, but I mean, on YouTube for the Wannabe Collective, that includes Game Club, that includes, Who Would Win. That includes Beer Bros, which has made a return. That includes these movie reviews and stuff like that. That kind of is just going to be a catch-all for all of our content on the YouTube side, at least. Game Club will still have its own podcast feed. But, the Wannabe Collective is going to be a place where we can catch everything else. So you'll have the Wannabe Collective as a podcast feed, you'll have Game Club as a podcast feed, and you'll have A Guy and His Wife as a podcast feed, as well as this Wannabe Critic podcast feed. But really, this is just going to be, for solo content that I'll be doing, because I am the Wannabe Critic, and there's no need to associate, for these fine gentlemen to associate and stoop to my level, to call themselves wannabes. But, at the same time, it's gonna be fun to start something new, to kind of have a little bit of a soft reboot of sorts. I've really been enjoying having people in the studio more recently to record Beer Bros. We're still kind of it's kind of been fun to figure that out because I haven't really recorded a lot of people live in a long time. So I'm listening to it back and there's kind of like a sense of like newness to it. It's like, oh, like I kind of messed up that person's audio a little bit. Like, this is kind of interesting. Okay, like it's kind of like a humbling thing, but we're having a blast. And the point is we're having a ton of content that's going to continue to come at you each week. There'll be something for you to listen to over on the Wannabe Collective. So, gentlemen, it's been nice catching up. It's been nice to kind of inform the people of where they can find us from here on out. And obviously, we'll have reminders, and I'll be putting out reminders on Twitter and stuff like that. But it's time we get into our movie review for this evening. We are, of course, as I mentioned before, reviewing the final Mission Impossible movie currently. There's a new Mission Impossible coming out. Man, you think about it. We're going to have Fast and the Furious to review. We're going to have Mission Impossible to review. And that's about it for right now. That we'll have that to look forward to when those new movies come out. I thought there was something else, but there's not. Gentlemen, what do you say we don't make someone recap it every time? We'll just read, we'll just look on the internet and see what the recap is on the internet. I feel like that's a way better, that's been working, the past few shows. So I know thank you for the applause, Mikey. I appreciate that. So Mission Impossible Fallout was released in 2018. It has a 7.7 on IMDb, a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 86% on Metacritic. Not that that means anything. This is just what the people are saying about it, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to give our wannabes honest opinion by the end of this review. And we're going to be reading. We're going to be reading some thoughts from someone that wrote something in for this episode, which I'm really excited about. And if you have, whenever we get to this next series going from here on out, we want to include your reviews with our reviews. We want to read what your thoughts are on a movie, for the show each week. So make sure you write in either on Twitter or thewannabecollective@gmail.com to get your thoughts heard on the show. But Mission Impossible Fallout. Ethan Hunt and the IMF team joined forces with CIA assassin August Walker to prevent a disaster of epic proportions. Arms dealer John Lark and a group of terrorists known as the Apostles plan to use 3 plutonium cores for a simultaneous nuclear attack on the Vatican, Jerusalem, and Mecca, Saudi Arabia. When the weapons go missing, Ethan and his crew find themselves in a desperate race against time to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. The director of this movie is Christopher McQuarrie. I believe it's the same guy who directed the last one. Box office, it made $791 million. The budget was $178 million. So, kind of, made a pretty penny off that. So, as we usually do before we get into our review, how do we feel about this movie? Caleb, you like this movie? Okay. I guess we don't need to hear anything else out of Caleb the rest of the show. No, I'm just kidding. Mikey, what's your opinion?
I really like it. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Ryan?
I don't love it. I'm not going to show my full hand, Caleb.
You don't love it? Caleb,
maybe I do.
That's going to be
maybe I do.
Yeah,
you don't know.
We don't know yet. Caleb, that face is going to be, that's going to be the thumbnail face for this video. No, I'm just kidding. Ryan, what's your opinion?
I did like it, yeah. It's not my favorite of them, but I had a good time watching it the first time, and when I went back to watch it again, I think maybe enjoyed it even a little more. So yeah, it was a nice time. Yeah,
I really liked this movie a lot. I think I was kind of surprised by how much I liked it in a way, because I've been, it is, Caleb's mentioned this on the show before too, like, each time you go down to sit down to review one of these movies, and like, you want to pick it apart at times, but at the same time, like, you give passes to certain things where you don't give passes to other things, and I think it just is a matter of how much it matters to you. And I think I went into this movie with a thought process of Mission Impossible doesn't really matter to me that much to me by this point. But I had a really good time with this movie. I really enjoyed it. Man, Tom Cruise in this movie just the amount of like athleticism showed. He's old. I mean, he's like 60, and like I was shocked, honestly. Like there was, because I think he still does a lot of his own stunts and stuff. But no, I really enjoyed it. It's not perfect, obviously, but to quote a great man, it doesn't have to be perfect to love it. So there you have it. That's quoted by Ryan Dalton. Caleb, let's start with you. What do you think? What would you say that your high points in the show would be, or in the movie? I'm sorry.
High points. I think all of the acting is done extraordinarily well. The set pieces are incredible. It's really, really well paced. Not perfectly paced, and I can probably get into that later. That's one of my negatives, but it's really, really well paced and well done, and just beautifully shot and just really well executed. Like, I feel like this should be almost shown in how to like do a blockbuster movie. Maybe not like a cinema film, I mean, but just a blockbuster action movie. This movie gets it all basically right, and just how it's executed, how it's shot, and how things are choreographed. It's just really, really, really well done. Really high quality.
Okay. Well said. Yeah, I think that's some good high points without, having to show your full hand. Mikey, what's kind of your high points for this movie?
I mean, the music is the best thing about this movie to me. It's a really good movie. That's not knocking the movie at all. That's just how good the music was to me. Like, I just really I found myself every time where they would do the no sound and just the music scenes, even though there was stuff going on. I thought that was really cool, because it wasn't like for emotional context most of the time. It was for like suspenseful, like action moments where it's just like, I just loved it. It was really cool. That was probably my favorite thing about this movie, to be honest.
Yeah, the sound design, I have to agree. Like the sound design in general is awesome. Like there were moments where, like especially that scene where Ethan is like kind of playing out the scenario in his head, with his alias, and like he realizes, oh, like they're gonna kill everybody. That reminded me of Batman, like The Dark Knight. Like something that you might find in the Dark Knight trilogy, just kind of like with the stylistic choice of, this should be really loud, but they're trying to make a point and get you to focus on this, this caravan and, this transportation. What? Go ahead.
Did Hans Zimmer do this soundtrack?
I will look.
He didn't.
I think it was the same guy that did the last one.
Is it Guccino?
No, it was somebody else. It was actually a name.
Really?
If I saw the right name in the credits, it was someone that I didn't recognize, actually.
Huh.
I'm looking it up right now, but continue, Mikey.
Yeah, I liked that a lot. And then, I mean, obviously the bathroom fight scene, that was dope. God. That's so cool. I have become a very big Henry Cavill fan in the past couple of years.
I love Henry Cavill. Especially after this movie.
Such a good actor. I mean,
yeah, if anyone's on the fence about him, they should watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He is incredible in that movie.
Yeah, you just get more of that in this movie, and I love it. But yeah, he was definitely a high point, and then we'll talk about more about him later. And then Tom Cruise, like you were saying, like he gets a bad rap for his acting, but he does a good job. And in this movie especially, I really enjoy Tom Cruise. Like, maybe it's a nostalgic thing with him, because I grew up with like watching Mission Impossible movies. But I don't know, just something about this movie, he just blows me away.
I think Caleb hit it on the head a few weeks ago whenever he said like Tom Cruise kind of knows what he's doing, and like he's not trying to be anything else. Like he's trying to be an action movie star, and he does it really well. So but his acting was good in this movie, I thought, for the most part, except for the end. There was like a weird like thing at the very end where like they kind of cut his dialogue at a weird place. It kind of seemed he was like, "Please don't make me laugh," and it looked like and then it was like roll credits, and I was like, what the heck was that? It was like almost like they cut just a little bit of dialogue out. Also, Lorne Balfe is the composer for, or in the no, I'm sorry, he just did the music. It just says music by but I don't think that's actually the score. I've always been kind of confused by that, actually. Yeah, I'll look it up in a minute. I'll find it. Ryan, let's shift to you. What's kind of your high points on this movie?
Yeah, I'll agree with some of what's already said. I do think it's the most beautifully shot of all the Mission Impossibles. Some of just the camera placements were really interesting. Just unique approaches to filming something I'd say probably my favorite shot is when Solomon Lane is sinking in the truck, and you get that really cool angle of the water filling up the back of the truck that kind of plays with your head. Stuff like that I love, because you can see the people making the movie thinking like an extra step, saying, okay, how can we make this something unique and new and interesting? So I really liked that. That bathroom fight, I mean, what can you say about that? It is it's in my pantheon of greatest movie fights, and it's definitely on my playlist now of stuff that I watch before I have to write a fight scene, because it gets me like totally pumped. I thought those were really good. I think it's interesting because it gets some pluses for some story stuff that it does, but it also gets probably the equal amount of minuses for some of the story things that it does. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I still really enjoyed it. And I can get into that later, but there are a couple of things that it like pluses for the story that I was very, very pleasantly surprised that they didn't have to. And I know that's vague, but I know we'll get into more specifics later.
Yeah, we'll get into the nitty gritty here in a minute. And it is Lauren Balfe. I had never heard of him before. I thought it was a mistake. Mission Impossible Fallout, Megamind, Black Widow, 13.
I love Megamind. Sorry.
It is a good movie. It's a good movie. Gemini Man, Pacific Rim, Uprising.
Oh wow.
Lego Batman, Ghost in the Shell. He has a ton of like really weird one-off movies.
Uprising is the superior Pacific Rim. So
Uprising, really? Is it good?
Oh, just in my opinion.
Okay.
Is that the second one?
It's the second one, yeah.
I have never seen the second one, so we might have to do that at some point on the podcast.
And look, I'm not going to say it's quality storytelling, but the key difference for me, what I found disappointing, and I know this is a tangent, but the thing I found disappointing of the first one is that to me the fights were really boring. They were very slow and ponderous and didn't have a lot of rhythm. The second one is like the fights are what I would hope a robot versus alien fight would be. They're quick and they're powerful and they're like there's a rhythm to them that you can really get into. It's not like two 80-year-old boxers slugging away at each other. That's how I felt the first movie was. Oh, and it also doesn't make the mistake of swathing half of the fights in mist so you can barely see anything. You can see the fights. They're quick and they're kinetic. And for that, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I do think, too, and this isn't, I don't want to add to it. Whenever I remember seeing a commercial for Pacific Rim, a long time ago, and remembering thinking like, wow, I've never seen anything like that cool before, that cool looking on screen, and we'd always made fun of like the monster movies. Like the closest thing is like, man, this is like a step up from King Kong, but at the same time you watch it and it's like, yeah, there could have been better stuff, but at the same time, that is a tale for a different time. Go ahead, Mikey.
Not to talk about Pacific Rim too much, but like I remember coming out of that movie, and at the time I had been watching a lot of anime, and like for me, anime has some of the best storytelling and like feel good moments where you just get hyped. That was the first like CGI movie that I had that feeling with, where I was like, this is awesome. I think I was like 13 or something when that came out, but it was at the perfect time of my life where I was just like, this is so cool. So yeah, I like that movie, but now you made me want to watch the second one.
That's
really
so
bad.
Sweet. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Mikey. Well, I was a cable guy for you. Okay, back to Mission Impossible. Enough of the kaiju talk. Back to Mission Impossible Fallout. We talk about the bathroom scene. Like, I thought, it was so funny because whenever I remember seeing commercials for this movie and being like, that's really cool. And I was like, oh, well, he must be the bad guy. Like, he must be fighting Ethan Hunt. So to realize that he was kind of the good guy, and then realizing like, oh, wait, no, he is the bad guy. It kind of felt like I don't know, played a trick on my mind a little bit, and I think that's what I've liked about these past few movies. There's been scenes like that, or plot points like that, where things aren't quite as what they seemed, yet but they do telegraph it a little bit, and I really liked that. But I don't have anything to add that you guys didn't already have to say. So let's move on to some negatives, unless we want to go into some like finite detail, like specific scenes, lines, moments, whatever, positive things before we move on to the negative things. Go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, I'll start off. Let's just talk for a moment about Henry Cavill. Is it Cavill or Cavill?
I'm pretty sure it's Cavill.
Call him
Cavill.
Superman. It's fine.
Okay, Superman, whatever. He is incredible in this movie. He's kind of the perfect foil for Tom Cruise, and he does really well with Tom Cruise and just how he kind of acts, and just he plays that part of being the CIA agent who's just this brute force and who isn't quite as refined in his espionage tactics as Ethan Hunt. It works just incredibly, incredibly well. Not to mention, he's rocking the mustache that nearly decimated an entire movie franchise.
Don't blame the mustache.
I mean, it's part of the reason, though. It's part of the reason. I mean,
after watching this movie, totally worth it, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
no,
this
absolutely.
was definitely the superior movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was worth it. But, yeah, it's just kind of hilarious. But, no, he is just really, really good in this. And I think he's the perfect addition of a character into this series to kind of keep things spicy. He's exactly what I think this series needed. And he's kind of... I mean, I know that we had Rebecca Ferguson's character in the last movie that kind of was a similar character, but he was like the perfect progression in adding in a new character into the series. It was really, really well, or worked really, really well.
I think this is the first time, because I haven't seen The Man from U.N.C.L.E., but I think, I haven't seen it. That's another one we'll have to add to the list to review, but I think this was the first time, because I always hated Superman. I'm like, he's the most unfairly written character. He's just a giant golden boy. Like, he's annoying. I can't stand to read him in comics. I hate him. Like, I hated Superman until I saw Man of Steel, and I talked about this in the review. Like, that's my Superman. And like, people talk about like can pinpoint certain actors that have portrayed whatever, like, oh, that's my James Bond, or that's my whatever. That dude is my Superman, and I love him as Superman. But at the same time, I don't feel like he really got to act a ton. He is a really good bad guy. Like, and just the amount of like egotism that you can kind of relate to, just as like, I think that's kind of weird. Like, I'm this I'm this guy doing this thing, and his motives, I don't necessarily know are relatable, but just he as a person and like the way he acts makes me like I can kind of put myself in his shoes. He's just kind of the douchey bad guy, but he played the part really well, and I really, really liked him. So I have to agree with you, Caleb. Like, solid addition, really good choice, and I like how they kind of showcase the discrepancy between Tom Cruise and him as being a bigger guy, and they've done that a couple times in these movies. Like, Tom Cruise is like, nah, dude, throw me around a little bit. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm kind of washed up a little bit, and I like that. I like that they've done that for a few movies now. Go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, I was just thinking he's almost a better done character, but in a similar vein as Sean Bean's character from GoldenEye, where he starts out, he's on the same side, and you don't necessarily expect it. This movie does kind of start telegraphing, like halfway through, this guy is a bad guy. This guy is John Lark.
Well, they showed you in the trailer that he was the bad guy.
Well, okay, I didn't watch the trailer before I rewatched this movie and don't remember it, but whatever. But I'm just saying, like, it was kind of in a similar vein as that, but I think it was better executed just because they were able to actually develop his character more, and you're able to see more of his chemistry with Ethan Hunt. And I think it just worked really, really well.
Yeah.
Well, I remember because it was an interesting story when the trailer came out. They showed part of the helicopter fight where, like, he was shooting the gun at Tom Cruise's helicopter and all that. And I remember reading afterwards that was a thing that Tom Cruise insisted on for this movie. He said, I forget all of his reasons, but he basically said, no, we're going to show them in the trailers who the villain is. And something about, I don't know, maybe he didn't want the movie to be like contingent on a twist or something, but in either case, he wanted people to know going into the movie who the good guys and who the bad guys were, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Well, that's funny though, because it does very much, walk you through that twist, kind of like you've never seen a twist in a movie before. But then it also hits you with another twist kind of on that twist that kind of sets him up and gets, Walker caught, which is one of my favorite moments of the movie, is when they kind of have that mask reveal and it ends up being Benji the whole time. It's one of my favorite things because you don't necessarily expect it, because you're seeing it's like, okay, here's the twist that, Walker's actually the bad guy. Here's the big reveal. And then it hits you with another twist and it's like, yeah, he's been, everything's kind of been, he's been caught, whatever. He's been outsmarted, and it works really well. It's kind of funny. It's weird that, Tom Cruise would want that in there in the trailers. It's like, it makes me think of like Predator would be a better movie if they didn't show the spaceship at the beginning of the movie. And it was just like there was a army squad going through the jungle and they didn't know what was attacking them. And it's revealed that it ends up being an alien movie. Like, you just didn't have any idea going into it. It always kind of blows my mind whenever you're willing to give away a really, really cool twist to a movie.
Yeah. And
was that a twist in Predator? I think that was...
No, it wasn't, but they could.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't, but they could have made it one really, really easily, and it would have made it a better movie. It's already a movie that, so many people love, but it would have made it a better movie. It's just like you cut away one scene, and it's just like easy fix.
Sorry, this is another tangent. I don't agree with that, because as soon as you showed its thermal vision, as soon as you heard how it sounded, you would have to restructure the entire first third of that movie in order for that to be a convincing twist.
I think he was talking about the trailer. Were you talking about the trailer of Predator, Caleb?
No, I'm just going off on a tangent. It's fine.
No, I do think, because, I do think there's always, whenever you're dealing with anything out of the realm of possibility, I think it could be interesting, and it could have been an interesting twist to see, like, they're on this mission doing this thing, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, what is this happening? As the audience, I think we could be like, well, what the heck is going on? But I see both sides of it. But we're talking about Henry Cavill's beautiful mustache is what we're talking about, not Predator. No, I'm just kidding. No, I agree with.
We talked about Pacific Rim for like 15 minutes. We can talk about Predator for 2 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's true. So go ahead, Mikey. Oh, I thought you had something to say. So is there any other finite details or specific things that we want to bring up? Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, something I really liked. I liked that they gave Julia a nice ending, like a wrap up for her character. I feel like a lesser series would have just said, okay, well, she was a love interest before, and now here's another one. But I like that they treated her character so much like she mattered. And not only did they give her a nice ending, but they tied in like kind of her nice ending to part of the mission. And I really liked that there were personal stakes, and that they gave us a nice wrap up for a character that had meant something in previous movies. I really like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was kind of weird to kind of see her show up. For me personally, it was just kind of like, what are you doing here? And I guess, that's kind of the intention, is to make you feel kind of weird. It's like, I thought you were like gone. I thought we said goodbye to you already, like, and now you're showing back up married to some other dude. I don't know how to feel about this, but no,
I think they go out of their way to show you that she's happy and kind of where she belongs, and
which is nice. It's better than being chopped up into a million tiny pieces. Like what they said, like what they pretended what happened to her.
Objectively, yes,
yeah,
it's better.
Yeah,
than that.
It is way better than that. Mikey, go. Did you have something to say? You're so animated. I just never know, if you're trying to piggyback or what.
I've always been animated. I loved the callback to like one of the best Mission Impossible movies at the very end, where he's just double gripping the rock wall. I was just waiting for what's his name, Limp Bizkit, to just come out of nowhere and just, you know what I'm saying?
Well, speaking of callbacks, I also like that they tied back into Max from the very first movie.
Yes.
They made her, even though I think her daughter is a completely unnecessary part of that movie, and really kind of, I guess it's a backhanded compliment. As much as they did not need her at all in that movie, and I feel like her element overcomplicated the story. I like that they tried, and I thought it was cool that they tried to fold in a reference to an old character, and so yeah, points for trying, even if they didn't totally nail it.
Well, and I think they did kind of give a callback to the first movie as well in the last movie, because that guy, there's that scene where that guy like makes him put on that mask, and it's the same mask, and it's the same guy.
Same guy.
And I
He's
was
still
like,
the same henchman.
Yes, some henchman. Like they made a connection. It's like, oh, he's like, yeah, man, sorry, But no, I was kind of, I picked that up too. I was like, Max. Oh, okay, yeah.
When she said Max, I was like, wait, as in Max, like from the first one? Yeah, it was cool.
Well, and just to kind of see that actress's mannerisms too, you could tell that she had kind of probably studied that character, because when she talked, it looked like that lady from the first movie. I was
the casting was superb.
Yeah, no, really, really good call, Christopher McQuarrie. I didn't have anything incredibly. I like how they showed Alec Baldwin for like 5 seconds and then killed him, and like when he died, he literally went, oh. It was like, I don't know. I whenever I see Alec Baldwin, it's just I can't even hardly take him seriously at all, just because of the amount of 30 Rock that I've watched. But
it's after 6. What am I, a farmer?
Yeah, like I just like I don't know. That seemed, and when he's trying to talk like this and be all serious, I'm like I'm like chuckling, like trying to like hold back laughter. But I like.
Well, it's funny because when I was a kid, he only played villains. He was like the quintessential bad guy, and then he got cast as the first Jack Ryan. It was like one of his early good guy roles. And then suddenly, years down the road, when he's older, it turns out he's pretty good at comedy too. Yeah, he's got range.
Yeah, and it's funny because he's one of those actors where it's like some people kind of like just have like a graceful out, and they do like a couple of bad movies to get like a couple like last paychecks, and you never hear about him again. But I don't know. I feel like where most actors would have kind of stopped, because I remember, I think my earliest time I ever saw Alec Baldwin was probably in the Cat in the Hat movie, and I was like. I literally, because I never saw The Hunt for Red October. I never saw him in anything ever. So I always thought he was just kind of like this derpy character. So I've never taken him seriously ever, and I still have never seen any of his older movies. So I don't know. I've always associated him with comedy, so it's kind of hard to see him. That is so funny now that make that connection. It's like, oh wait, he was in spy movies before. So yeah, that's probably hilarious for some people to hear, but whatever. Other than that, though, I didn't have a ton of like tiny things. I really like the chase scenes, like with the car chase with the motorcycle. That was cool. Really enjoyed that. One thing that I think that I don't think we've talked about is I like that this is basically a sequel to the last one, and I liked how they kind of continue that, like with Ilsa, and like they all these movies kind of piggyback off of each other, but literally the plot from the last movie is literally it's directly continued in this movie. And I liked that. I took the bad guy way more seriously this time. I'm like, wannabe Steve Jobs over here trying to make the calls, in the last movie. I just couldn't take him seriously. Whereas in this one, he genuinely like, okay, he's a bad dude. Well, Benji had no business trying to fight that guy. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But, I think that's all I have to say in terms of like smaller stuff. I think now we can move on to things that we didn't quite land for us, what we didn't quite like. Caleb, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so just two little negatives. The plot's a bit convoluted, and as Ryan kind of already pointed out, there's definitely elements of it that are unnecessary. And if you didn't watch Rogue Nation somewhat like in a little bit before this, if it's been a while since you've seen Rogue Nation, you're probably going to want to watch Rogue Nation before you watch this to understand the plot, just because it's a bit, there's a lot of terminology there talking about the Syndicate and the Apostles, and even remembering just who Solomon Lang is, because that was weird. I got like a weird echo. But no, just even remembering who Solomon Lang is, because he looks different in this movie and he kind of acts a little different in this movie. It's just kind of weird, like plot wise, but again, overall it works really, really well. It's just a little tick. And then the other thing is there is a lull in the pacing of this movie, somewhat kind of towards the middle. I believe after they've kind of after the car chase, after they've gotten Solomon Lang, and after it's like kind of when he like goes and talks to Ilsa, and there's just kind of a lull there up until you kind of get like that twist on the twist, and all of that stuff happens. It's probably like 15 minutes of just not a whole lot going on, just kind of people talking to each other, and where everything else in this movie kind of is paced out so spectacularly, that lull is pretty noticeable. But that's basically it.
I agree with you on that. I feel like this movie could have probably been like 15 minutes shorter. It's over 2 hours, and it does feel long. Like whenever you get to the helicopter, before all the helicopter stuff happens, and Julia and all that stuff, it's like, good God, there's like half an hour left in this movie still, still quite a bit to do. So yeah, I kind of agree with that. The chase scenes were cool, but they did feel a bit long, and there was like 3 chase scenes, like 3 car chase scenes, and they were cool. I'm not saying they're not well stylized and not well done, but do we need 3? I mean, come on, So no, I think those are good criticisms for sure. I don't have anything to say against that. Mikey, what didn't strike your fancy there, Pumpkin?
Well, I agree with everything that Caleb said. Yes, yeah, I agree with that. One thing that kind of stood out to me was just kind of the last fight scene. Didn't do it for me, really. I mean, it was cool, but how many times did the hook slide? Like 4 times? And then, like, at the very last second, he can just yank it because he somehow knows that it's cracking up top.
When he did that,
I was just like,
when he did that, I was like,
I think that's the most ridiculous part of that entire movie, though, is when he yanks the cord.
Yeah.
I dipped out a little bit, but I was like, I audibly said whenever he pulled that down, I was like, come on, dude. Like, let's wrap this up. Like, come on.
Yeah.
God.
But I would have much rather that it would have been just a complete callback to the second film, like what I was saying, and just been like a rock wall fight or something cool like that. The one thing, I mean, I kind of do some rock wall climbing in my spare time sometimes, but the gloves, you can't wear gloves and really be a good rock climber. That's one nitpick about that scene again, where I was just like, they would be falling to their death probably if they were wearing gloves on a rock wall. But that entire scene, it was cool. I mean, but there was just a few things in there I was just like, it just immediately took me out. And you hate to see that at the end of a film where you're just like, oh,
it kind of
really?
like
Okay.
It kind of painted Henry Cavill a little bit as being somewhat buffoonish, and we've already established that he's a douche, so that's fine. But it kind of seemed like he was kind of like I got you in a chokehold. Like, what are you gonna do? It's like, I'm gonna throw you around, like a sack of potatoes, and then like just to go out like that. I don't know. That was kind of gruesome in a way. I was like,
yeah, that was a little too much too. I was like, you could have just did the classic.
Well, and like you make up a good point. I was literally
fire.
thinking during that fight scene, I was like, the fight scene in Mission Impossible 2 is better than this for all of its dramatic.
It's kind of the
all of
same
its
thing
drama.
without the hanging. Yeah,
Dude, I don't know. Like I
Can we
might
take a step back?
No,
Let's take a step back.
Thank you, Caleb.
it's the same thing.
I agree. I'm
basically
kind
the
of
same
there.
movie.
I'm kind of there. It's
This is
basically
very much
the same
the
movie.
grown-up. No, this is very much the grown-up version of that fight. This is we shouldn't actually go back and watch MI2 again. But if we
think we
did,
should.
I no, we should not. As much as I agree that I think that the whole ending went on way too long. The whole movie's 20 minutes too long.
Yeah.
I would never compare it to MI2.
Well, I did. So there it is.
I might compare getting poked in the eye to MI2. I don't know, but
Here I am. I guess Zoom didn't like me complimenting Mission Impossible 2, so it kicked me out. No, I think we somewhat just I just remember sitting there thinking, man, like, I don't know, maybe the second one isn't better, but it didn't really hit for me either, Mikey. Like, I couldn't really like love the way that he went out. It felt like there could have been a little more back and forth, and I guess they didn't want to quite play the same joke as last time, as like throwing Tom Cruise around too much, because obviously Henry Cavill towers over that guy. But yeah, I don't know. it was kind of just meh for me too. But it was cool still. Yeah. I think we've hit the point on the head. So, anything else from you, Mikey?
I mean, I do love that bathroom fight scene, but oh man, it's just another nitpick, to be honest. When he grabs the P-trap underneath the sink and just tears it out of the wall, that one guy that they're fighting, I was just like, okay, all right. And then it's perfectly just, there's no way you're ripping a rigid pipe out of the wall. That was like the only thing. I was like, okay, it's cool, but he'd be all.
But there's also no way that cocking your fists makes you more powerful. But you buy that.
I bought
it's
that.
like, wasn't he trying to like clear away his sleeves or something?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, sure.
No, what happened was Tom
whatever.
Cruise.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, they were shooting that scene. And then Tom Cruise is all sweaty. He's all, let me tell you, have you ever seen Dragon Ball Z? Like, or something. Like it was cool, but what's funny about the clearing the sleeves, the cocking your arms to like get ready for a fight, it doesn't even immediately go to that. Like, you just kind of see Henry Cavill in the background, like just kind of like waltzing over there. You can't. It would be different, like you couldn't see him, but you can. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought you were about to tear this guy, and then there he goes. He starts punching him. Some hurting bombs, but still, no. I think it is token Mission Impossible action. It kind of reminded me of the opera battle a little bit. Like, it's memorable. Like it's like a super memorable moment in the movie, and yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, I was kind of like you, Mike. Whenever I saw him put it to it wasn't so much the tearing it out of the wall. I was like, okay, whatever. But whenever he put it to his throat and just kind of held it there, I was like, like kind of trying to figure out and piece together how that was even possible. But anyways.
There's a suspension of disbelief there. Because, in real life, fights last like 5 seconds.
Yeah, and everyone's like,
yeah.
Good. Like, you're strong, Okay. Ryan, what do you got? I know you probably have a lot to say, so lay it on us.
No, not a ton. And having said anything, I'm going to say I still very much enjoyed it. But, I always look at, okay, how would I maybe tweak or improve? I agree with everyone else who said it's too long. It's 20 minutes too long to me. And there's definitely fat you could have trimmed. I do think from the middle, I think from some of the chases, especially the helicopter chase, you could have easily bought back 15 or 20 minutes. And then by the time it ends, you don't want it to get to the point where someone's like, okay, I'm ready for this to be done. You want to end like 2 minutes before that. And they overshot it.
Yeah. I didn't feel like I was left wanting. I feel like, okay, like, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, it was part of that is it was one layer too complicated. I think they tried to get a little bit too spy movie-y in certain places, and there were too many layers that really didn't serve the story. And they could have simplified and streamlined some of the storytelling there. I think that Henry Cavill's character is good because of Henry Cavill. If you look at the writing of that character, the dialogue and how he's executed, there's not a lot of meat on that character at all. There's really nothing to like or to grasp onto about anything he says or does. All the magic comes from Henry Cavill. That's it. And I think they missed an opportunity to make that a meatier, more compelling character. They didn't even really fully tell you that he was Solomon Lane's disciple. They just sort of imply it and let you figure it out, which makes some things seem like a plot hole. It makes his whole position as John Lark seem like a plot hole at first, because why does some random CIA agent have the resources that he did? It was sort of like what I called out in MI2. Like, okay, well, how does Sean Ambrose have this criminal empire, on a spy salary? And in this, it almost seems similar until you, like, the second view, and I was like, oh, he's Lane's disciple. That's how he has the resources that he does. And that's why he wants to, break him out of prison and all that. But they don't tell you that. And for all the layers of complexity, it took me 2 viewings to be like, oh, that's why he's doing this. So I think in among the layers of complexity, they forgot to give us clear exposition in certain points. Let me think. One other thing that springs to mind, and it's right on the back of a part that I thought was really cool. I do love the whole thing with the masks and switching Benji with Lane and all that. I thought that was well done. What is not well done is the point where Henry Cavill reveals himself, because he like literally says, okay, here's my whole evil plan to a guy who, as far as he knows, knew the whole evil plan already.
Yep.
And it's very like, okay, there was a much cleaner way to reveal that to the audience than to him to literally say, okay, here's everything we've been doing.
Well, yeah, it would have. I'm gonna pull a Ryan Dalton. This is how you could have done it. They were already suspecting that something was up with him, because whenever he reveals himself and he goes back to Alec Baldwin and Tom Cruise, they were like, kind of like, I got you, man. All he would have to do is make Benji say something to make Henry Cavill be like, don't you know the plan? Like, we're supposed to yada, yada, yada. Like, he would know already what the whole point was. So then he could, that could be a way to get him to like show his hand and say everything, because then it would be like, wait a minute. Like, you know the plan already. And then it makes Benji's reveal it makes it comical at that point. So, because Benji's kind of his purpose to serve. I mean, he's like, he has no business being in the field, yet he is. So I don't know. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like that's how I would have done it, because it was kind of weird. It was like, it was just kind of like word vomit all of a sudden to this relatively somewhat quiet and composed character, So, but sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You could have. No, you could have done it a lot more subtly and have him reveal one part and then realize he's being had. And then when he's confronted with everybody, then it kind of comes out, all right, yeah, this is what we're doing. And it would have been a more realistic way to do it. I think those are my main things. And again, having said all that, I still very much enjoyed it. There's always points for improvement, though.
So, in conclusion, you're just saying it all circles back to Mission Impossible 2.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
I love you, Mikey, so much. I can't add anything negative that I haven't already said. I try and kind of get my points in, and usually the things that I don't like line up with one of you guys. So I don't have anything else to add. Negative wise. My biggest complaint, it's too long. I think that's kind of across the board, but that doesn't mean it's not fun, it still is really fun, but it needed to be like an hour 50, not 220, is the only thing that I have to say. But I think it gets to that point in the show where we kind of give our final thoughts, gentlemen, and I have an announcement to make. By popular demand, decimals may be allowed. And Caleb brings up a good point, too. He brought up a good point off mic that we're going to do a ranking of all the movies by the end of it. So what we're going to do is we'll go around, we'll give our final thoughts, give your score. Feel free to decimal away, and that will be a continuing rule in the future. I'm not going to do it just because I feel like for my personal review process, I need to have a kind of a clear-cut number. But I also think that some people think in terms of like a 100-point scale, So if it needs to be an 8.7 for you, whatever you need, whatever makes you feel happy and comfortable. You bunch of cowards. So let's start with Caleb. Caleb, what are your final thoughts and your score on this bad boy?
So yeah, it's just a
you're
really
muted, Caleb.
good. Oh,
I didn't do it.
Weird. I don't know why that happened, but no, it's just a really good movie. It's really solid. It's really high quality. There's not a whole lot wrong with it. I mean, you can nitpick it to death, I guess, just like you could with any other movie. But overall, it's just a really high quality movie. And I think the thing that kind of sets it apart is it is, to me, the most rewatchable of them and most like wanting to go back and watch it just because of how well executed it is. Of course, there's little problems here and there with various things. And I mean, I think the biggest one is just some of the plot just isn't all completely there. But it's still a great movie nonetheless, and you can enjoy it time after time. And sometimes movies with kind of a convoluted plot like that, they serve themselves up by kind of or as being rewatchable. You know, because you can go back to it time and time again, and I catch different things with this movie each time I watch it, and yeah, that could be you know, a negative against it, but it can also kind of be a positive to it. It's like Inception. I think if you watched Inception, you understood and got every single little thing out of it the first time watching it. You're probably kidding yourself. It's after a few times watching that movie, it's like, oh, I enjoy it even more and more with each time. And that's how I find myself with this movie too. So I really enjoy it. And you want me to rate it now?
Yes, please.
It's a 9 for me. Yeah, it's a 9.
Nice. Well said, Caleb. That was a very concise review. I appreciate that. And cohesive. You know, there's not a lot of ums going on like this guy over here. It is what it is. Mikey, what do you think?
I really enjoyed this movie, man. I mean, I agree with Caleb as usual. Who doesn't agree with Caleb except me with the Fast and Furious movies? Moving on. I really like this movie. The music, awesome. Fight scenes, awesome. Is a little too long, like you said. Man, I want to go with my gut, and I really want to give this an 8. But I think I'm going to go probably like a 7.53. Feels good to me. Just right in the middle, except a little higher than a 7.5.
A little higher than a 7.5.
7.53.
That's your official score.
That's my official score, and you can't take it away from me anymore.
Douche. God, I hate you. God. Oh, my God. All right, a 7.53 from Mikey. Whatever. Ryan, what do you got?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, there's stuff you can point out that could be better, of course. But yeah, it's rewatchable, which is not the case with a lot of movies. Having said that, it's not my favorite of them. So I would give it an 8. And I'm also a fan of the non-decimal system. I think it makes you make harder choices about what you're going to rate. So
that's how I feel too. But I'm not going to limit that to everybody. To each his own. Like I said, 100-point scale. That's the thing for some people. I can't even begin to go into that amount of detail. It just feels a certain way to me, and I go with that. And who knows? I might, it's a personal thing for me to try and keep it to like one whole number, no decimals. But whatever floats your boat. I don't want to hold anyone back from enjoying. 7.53 from Mikey. I echo a lot of the same stuff that you guys do. This is my second favorite one. It dethroned Mission Impossible 1 as my second favorite. This is my second favorite right after Mission Impossible 3. I really had a good time with this movie. I enjoyed it, and aside from my few nitpicks and few issues that I have with it, and kind of hearing your guys' thoughts too, I'm gonna give it an 8 as well. I think I agree with Caleb. I think this is probably the most rewatchable one. If I was to pick one to have on in the background, I would probably get this one confused a little bit with Rogue Nation in the beginning, or I'm sorry, Ghost Protocol in the beginning. Just because there is kind of like a similar feeling a little bit, and I'd be like, wait a minute, which one is the better one? And to me, I think this is just the better movie across the board, even though even though Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation had its moments. No, 5 was Rogue Nation. Yeah, that's right. See, then the names too, like I kind of, I get messed up. And then certainly last but not least, we have a review from one Albob875 on Twitter, to which I said, tonight's the night, Mission Impossible Fallout. What's your take on this movie? We'll read it on the show. Alec Bobco says, it was the first one of the franchise I saw because I had nothing else to do on a hot summer day. I freaking loved this movie, and I went out to buy the rest of the franchise to see every other one. The action, phenomenal. The suspense, breathtaking. The payoff, fantastic. Appreciate that, Alec, for your write-in. And don't forget, ladies and gents, that if you want to hear your thoughts read on the show, unless we have 100, we will read your thoughts, whatever you have to say on the movie. So there you have it.
You heard it. Up to 99 of them we will read.
Up to 99, literally. We will read every one. It'll be a 2-hour show every time. It's a bit bittersweet to finish another series, gents, but we've made it through another one. It's a good feeling of accomplishment. I've really enjoyed talking about this. We're definitely going to want some listener interaction on our next series, which I believe we've announced to be, we are going to be going through the Skywalker saga. Officially rewatching it as the Wannabe Collective. Mikey turned on here. I'll join the club. Here, I'll do you one better. Watch this. Bam. Wrong remote. Oh, yeah, well, there it goes. Bam. Red wannabe sign. There you have it. I'll be going through the Skywalker saga. So, we'll be tweeting to remind you to send in your thoughts on what you think of the show. We will be going in chronological order. So we will be starting with the prequels and continuing it, in order. Oh, yeah. Ryan's busting out the good old-fashioned, the good old-fashioned Mandalorian background that he used on one of the reviews for the episodes. I'm excited to go back through these movies, especially after watching all of Clone Wars, watching all of Rebels. We'll finish the Bad Batch by the time we go to review, and that starts next week. So make sure you're tuning in because it'll be super fun to get those started. But yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys think, and I'm interested to see how, what our reviews are moving forward with those movies. So, but yeah, that wraps up this show, you guys. Really good time. It was good to catch up with everybody. Go ahead, Caleb. You're muted too, by the way.
Yeah, are we going to rank?
Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I see your messages now. Yeah, so before we sign off, we're going to rank the Mission Impossible movies, our personal favorites, in order. So, Caleb, why don't you, since it was your idea, you get us started.
Yeah, so I'll start with 1. Fallout is my favorite, followed by the first one. Then the third one, then the fourth one, Ghost Protocol, fifth one, Rogue Nation, and then finally, sorry, Mikey, MI2 is the last.
Okay, there you have it. Mikey, what's your ranking?
I already was after our Fast and the Furious review.
Water under the bridge, my friend.
Wait, who was pro Fast and the Furious and who was con Fast and the Furious?
I was pro, and Caleb would just crap.
Oh my God, that is not what happened.
Here's the thing. So here's the thing. Me and Mikey and Gabe were on the same page for I think like 1 through 4, and then from 5 to whatever the last one was, we were just all arguing with each other.
It was
constantly.
all over the place.
Yeah,
5 is my favorite of
It
them.
was fun. It was fun.
Good times.
I enjoyed
Very good
that.
times. Mikey, go for it.
I wasn't here for some of these, but I'm just going to go off of like what I like. 1 is probably my favorite. Probably Rogue Nation in second. Ghost Protocol in third. Well, no. Fallout's probably third. Ghost Protocol. And then 3, then 2. 2's in last. I do have nostalgia for 2. I really like 2. But it is definitely the weakest film. For sure.
It's 2001, just trash. Plus Limp Bizkit,
Watch your mouth.
It's like the weakest time period.
It's so bad. Like before technology was really good, Good Lord. Ryan?
MI3 is my favorite. Followed by Rogue Nation, the first one, Fallout, then Ghost Protocol. I don't rank MI2 number 6. I rank it also after all the Bourne movies, except for 1. Also after all the James Bond movies. Also after most other movies I've seen. So it's I don't even rank it in this series practically.
Ouch!
Who do you think you are?
Wow, Mikey's heartbroken right now, probably.
Nah, I get it. I totally get
No,
it.
that's true. It's pretty bad. Yeah. So for me, it's gonna go Mission Impossible 3, Mission Impossible Fallout, Mission Impossible 1, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, Mission Impossible 2. So, and wow, that's quite a jump from Ghost Protocol to 2. I mean, 2 is definitively the worst, so it is what it is. But interesting, we're all kind of on similar pages, and we all enjoy different things about the movies. So, go ahead, Mikey.
Everybody says 2 is the worst, but which movie do we reference the most tonight?
Oh, shots fired. You, Mikey, I mean...
Pacific Rim?
Yeah, Pacific Rim.
Pacific
actually,
Rim.
I think.
Yeah, Pacific Rim wins
Superman.
out. Pacific Rim wins out. You mentioned some good movies, Ryan. You mentioned the Bourne series. You mentioned the Bond series, which I've had an idea for a long time. There is a resident Bond expert in me and Caleb's family that I have coaxed into coming on the show at some point. And if he's still down, I would love to have him do some of those movies at some point. So I have to keep that on the back burner as well. But until that's a conversation for a different time. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to the final group review for the Wannabe Critic podcast. If you want to continue to be subscribed to this podcast feed, you're more than welcome to do so. It will just be solo content. Yeah, it's a rave. It's just going to be solo content here from me as Gabe, the Wannabe Critic. It's been a fun ride. It's kind of sad. It's a bit bittersweet. We're not stopping, of course, but I won't be announcing the show and saying welcome all fellow wannabes anymore. I'll be just saying, hey, what's up, everybody, as I did in this first in this episode. So it's been fun, but make sure you go subscribe to us at YouTube. The Wannabe Collective. We don't have a vanity link yet, so there's a link down in the description down below. Make sure you go follow that new podcast feed. We'll be sending out reminders, stuff like that, and you can see all the other stuff that we have down in the description down below as well. Don't forget that you can write in. Let us know how we're doing. If you're listening on Apple, give us a review. If you give us a positive review, it helps us get recognized more. So it'd really mean the world if you would do so. But until next time, Caleb, where can people find you?
At ChiefNNY18 on Twitter. You can go check me out over there. That'd be cool.
Mikey?
I'm on Twitter, lowkeymc7, or you can just type in Mikey Collins, I think, and find me.
Yeah, he has a Batman logo as his username photo. So.
I am the knight.
I am the knight. Ryan, where can people find you?
Ryan Dalton on Twitter, Ryan Dalton on Instagram. Your favorite bookstore for my books that are currently out. My next book, This Last Adventure, has a shiny new Goodreads page, so head over there and add it to your want to read list.
And of course, you can find me at YouTube at The Wannabe Critic. Go watch me play some RuneScape. See how I'm doing. I'm going to be focusing on that for the foreseeable future. I do have some things in the works. I'm working on an extensive review series for Marvel's Avengers because I think by the time I'm done with it, the game will be dead. And, it'll be just the right time to release it. So it's more of a passion project.
It's not dead?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a passion project. I think it's just more of an opportunity for me to flex my skills editing and reviewing wise, keep it sharp, and kind of focus on a style of content that I've really wanted to do for a long time, but haven't really had the courage to. But I feel like the time has come. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us over at The Wannabe Collective. Say goodbye, guys.
Adios.
So long.
Bye.